Okay, we are ready for your story now.
Hello again, everybody.
Here we
So I'm Dr. Tamara Sachs. Those of you that don't know me, I'm an MD. I'm a functional medicine doctor. I've been a physician for 30-something years. And I had the good fortune to be introduced to this amazing company and product 21 years ago to the month, the 21st of February, 1999. We signed an application. I'm going to tell you my story really briefly because I want to get to some other stuff about the product and the research, and but really just briefly, because I just said a minute ago, we learn with stories. We're hardwired for stories. This is why we share stories, because you'll remember a story much more than facts and figures and statistics that may or may not interest you. But a story that touches your heart is how you connect and how you remember and how you can share those stories with somebody else. So really briefly, when I was first introduced to Juice Plus, the honest truth is I did not listen. I did not want to know. I didn't believe it. It took apparently, allegedly, 2 years of somebody after me over and over and over. I don't remember any of it. They finally got smart and talked to my wonderful late husband, Joe. Joe was much nicer than me. And so he said, of course, I'll listen to this CD, which happened to be Mitra Ray. Those of you that know Mitra, you know how foolish I was for 2 years to say no. Anyway, long story short, my late husband, Joe, listened to the information from Mitra. He looked at me, he said, you would like this. And then I listened because he had credibility. So our sponsor, Frances, did a couple of great things there. She persistently kept after me, even though I was very negative. Then she went to my spouse. Good lesson. My spouse had credibility. She did not. She's my drinking buddy from college. Okay, so she had credibility about beer, but not about nutrition. And that was the problem. That was the disconnect for me. I still didn't believe it. I still thought it was, iffy if you could put fruits and vegetables in a capsule until someone showed me the research. I read the research. The rest is history. I have not missed a day. And it took a while to share with patients just because politics 20 years ago were different and my ego was more involved than it should have been. I was more concerned about what people would think about me rather than what it could do for other people. When I finally figured that out and told a patient who really needed Juice Plus, and I realized, yeah, I've only been not telling people because I was worried about what they'd think of me selling stuff. And so that never happened again. And I would encourage you all, anytime you're hesitant to share with somebody, think about them, not about you. It's not about us. It just isn't. We're messengers. We're just trying to give a message to people that this is available. If you're interested, great. If you're not, I'm moving on. Next person, okay? So that was the beginning of our story. And then Cynthia Gompers, our other upline, came down, drove down 2-3 hours to show us the compensation plan, the marketing plan. She literally drew the circles on a napkin over lunch, literally. And when we saw the when we saw the benefits at NMD, when we saw that National Marketing Director, for those of you that are new, which is the top position level, you get a full benefits package comparable to a CEO at a Fortune 500 company, full medical, dental, eyeglasses, prescriptions, all sorts of stuff, disability insurance, life insurance, holiday bonuses, tuition reimbursement, huge list of bonuses. When we saw that, we went, oh, we could do that. Because just for the benefits alone, that was about $3,000 a month to us in Blue Cross Blue Shield bills that we were getting nothing back from. So we figured part-time effort, 2 years, they told us, part-time effort, 2 years, you could get there. We said for $3,000 a month in savings, we'll do that. We didn't think about the fact that we'd also be making a residual income. We were looking at the benefits. What can I tell you? We weren't that smart at the time, but we did it. We worked together part-time. My late husband was a surgeon. I told you I'm a physician. We had 2 separate offices, both in private practice. We have a 2-year-old. The call schedule is a nightmare, not being called to an emergency room at the same time with a 2-year-old at home. That was our life. We had money, but we had no time. We didn't need an income. We needed time to spend the income we were making. And we saw that there was no way out of this. We loved what we did, no question, but we didn't want to do it every day. Like Peter was saying, 40, 50, 60, 70 hours a week for the rest of our lives. That just wasn't in the plan. So when we saw this potential to dream again, as Peter said, we took it. And life was never the same since. I can tell you it's one of the best decisions I've ever made other than marrying my husband. That's about the only one that tops this. Maybe going to medical school, maybe not. Some days, depends on the day you ask me. But as a result of that decision, several things happened. one, my husband, Joe, who had been in a car accident right before this was all introduced to us, was able to go back to being a surgeon, but it was hard. It was painful. He had an injured hand, an injured back, and standing doing surgery all day is not really good for a bad back, right? So he was able, after a couple of years, to retire at 40 something and be Mr. Mom for our child, which turned out to be really a blessing. So he was home, went to get off the bus, and he did her homework with her and baked cookies. And while I was on call at the hospital, they became very, very close. And he passed suddenly about 10 years ago from an arrhythmia. And in retrospect, she was 12. My daughter was 12. Our daughter was 12 when he died. But she spent more time with him, one-on-one, close with him, than most kids ever get with their dads, just because he was home from the time she was 3. And he was the main person at home all those years. So I'm very, very grateful to that. And I'm also grateful that when he did pass, you know, nothing bad happened to us financially, which is typically what happens to folks, especially women who lose their husbands at a young age. I didn't have to sell the house. I didn't have to get my kid out of private school. I didn't have to go right back to work because we had the Juice Plus income that was by then our main income. So nothing changed. I honestly, I'm not bragging about this and maybe don't tell everybody, but I honestly hardly worked the Juice Plus business for 3 years after Joe passed. I showed up. I was always at conference. I always was there, but I was kind of only there. Those of you that knew me then, I was there in body, but not anything else. And my point is my check never changed. My benefits never went away. For 3 years, I hardly worked my business and I was paid every month and my benefits were there every month. And no one ever called me from corporate and said, Tamara, we're paying you and you're not working, right? No one ever said that. They called me to see if I was okay. They called me, Jay called me, Ron Watkins called me, everybody at corporate called at some point to see if they could help, if they could do anything for us. And they did. They supported our team and all of our sideline pitched in. This people I don't even know about that I know pitched in to help our young team with all of a sudden no leadership, right? Joe was gone. He was the main leader of our team and I was kind of out of action. So everybody stepped in and that's what was said earlier. I can't remember if it was Marlene or Sue, I apologize, or maybe Rachel, but it was Rachel. This is a family. We're there for each other. We care, we're good people and we feel when other people are hurting and we step in because we're people that we do this because we care about other people. So just to shorten this all up, by the time all that happened, I had also been able to retire, to go back to school, to do what I do now, which is what I love, functional medicine. So I took a few years off as well. So this business has supported us all this way. Joe retiring from being a surgeon, me taking 3 years off to go back to school, right? And then, you know, Joe passed 6 weeks before the economic collapse of 2008. So within a few weeks, I lost not just my husband, but our portfolio, the value of our home. We were wiped economically. If it hadn't been for this business, I really don't want to think about what I would have done because it's ugly. It's just a very depressing thought. But I would have been a doc in the box writing prescriptions and ripping my soul apart, knowing that there wasn't the right thing to do, but having to do something to support my family. So I have so many reasons to be grateful for this company, for this product, for corporate leadership, and for all my sideline buddies and my team who have stuck with me through thick and thin, through all my trials and tribulations. And that's the nature of this business. So I hope that if you're new, you will consider the fact that our culture, our ethics, our ethos, if you will, is one of the main reasons people join us and people stay. We have very little attrition. Once people are into our company, they don't leave. We're solid. Why would you leave? We make a difference in people's lives. We're on a mission to change the world. We do that. And we make an income at the same time, a passive income no less, which enables us to do more good, right? Money's just a tool. You can do whatever you want with money. You can hoard it or you can do good with it. You can give it away. You can start a charity. You can help other people. And that's my goal with making money. It's the size of my check in Juice Plus directly reflects the number of people I'm helping, either with their health or their wealth or both. And I'm proud of that. So I have no problems making as much money as I can with Juice Plus because that means I'm helping more people. And with that extra income, I can do a lot of good in the world. And I try to do that. So switching gears just for the last little while that we have, I want to talk a little bit about me as a doctor in Juice Plus and the research and give you maybe some insights as to why someone like me would look at this and maybe help you approach other healthcare practitioners down your road and people that you're in contact with yourselves. So the first thing I want to express to you all is that I really, really, truly believe strongly, how can I say that better, that we have an answer, not the answer, but a big answer to this enormous chronic healthcare crisis that we're facing in this country right now. We have an epidemic of chronic disease. We have an increasing number of people developing cancer. Yes, we have treatments that work, but more and more people are getting cancer. They're not talking about that. More and more people are dying from heart disease. More and more people are dying younger than they ever did before. This generation of kids is not expected to live as long as their parents. Think about that. That's never happened before, right? And so one of the things that frustrates me the most is that we spend all this time debating about who should pay for our healthcare, single payer, universal, blah, blah, blah. That's all important, but for humanity's sake, let's figure out why it's so expensive. You know, why the cost of healthcare has gone skyrocketing, because more and more of us are sick, because adult onset diabetes is now happening in 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds. It's no longer called adult onset diabetes. That's just in the space of 10 years, folks. It's crazy what's happening. Autoimmune diseases has gone like straight up. The curve has gone straight up. I saw an 18-year-old with 3 autoimmune diseases. That would never have happened 20, 30 years ago, ever. The amount of autoimmune disease we're seeing now is truly epidemic. So yes, coronavirus is scary, but let's be factual here. 825,000 people every year in this country drop dead from a heart attack. 825,000. And Tufts University just did a study a few months ago, early last year. It was phenomenal. It showed that if we just subsidize fruits and vegetables by 30%, for the Medicaid, Medicare population, just 30% of the cost of produce, we would save 650,000 lives a year from heart disease alone. We would save 120,000 people from developing diabetes, and we'd save $100 billion a year, even taking into account the 30% subsidy. So it's not, my thing is not about single payer versus universal versus private insurance. I just want to stop this roller coaster, that we don't need to be in the situation where we're spending $100 billion extra dollars a year in healthcare. People are still suffering. People are still dying. For every one of those 825,000 deaths from heart disease, that's a lot of people that are grieving. Family members, kids, parents, grandparents, sisters, siblings, friends, colleagues. It's not just that number, right? It's the unnecessary suffering of all that loss. And yes, I have a personal interest in that, but believe me, I was an emergency room doctor and an intensive care unit doctor before Joe passed. It's still, you know, it doesn't have to be that personal to be really a huge, scary kind of problem. And when you realize that the solution is so obvious and so simple, it's how we eat. So the reason we're getting so sick, and the reason we have so much autoimmune disease and diabetes and heart disease, so much more than we ever did, is because of how we eat. It's that simple. It's really not any more complicated, but that's the problem. It's so simple, no one wants to hear it. We want these high-tech falutin answers. We want, you know, bypasses and transplants and cool stuff. Broccoli? Spinach? Yeah, it's really boring. And so it's hard to get traction when you have a solution that's so basic, what your grandmother told you was actually the answer. That's just no fun. Right? So our job is to make that the answer and to make that a reality, and that's difficult. So one of the reasons I became involved with this company and this product, as I mentioned, is because of the research. So there's 2 things. Before I get into the research, I'm going to briefly just mention that one of the things I've learned along the way, and maybe many of you know this already, I'm a little slow sometimes, is you cannot be healthy if you're broke. You can't. You cannot be healthy if you're broke. You can't eat well. You can't make the right choices. You can't not be worried about the mortgage, the rent, the next month, whatever. And all of that worry makes you sick. Worry and stress are an antithesis to, I said it wrong, but you know what I mean, are opposite to being healthy. And so every time I can help someone have less monetary stress, I've helped them just as much as I would with penicillin for their pneumonia or anything else that I might do as a doctor. So I think that's really important to recognize that stress is a major cause of health, and money is the number one, number two, and number three reason that people are stressed out. And that's for sure. And so what better than a way to simultaneously improve people's health, improve their financial situation so they have less stress, all while we're getting the country, the world healthier and making a dent in the chronic illness epidemic that we're having. And I really think that this is not a little thing. What we have in this company with these tools to be healthier is potentially a huge piece of the solution. So whether we're talking about Juice Plus capsules or the children or the family health study, which if you don't know is a way to get kids on Juice Plus for free. So kids ages 4 to 18 and up to 26 years old, if they're in college, can get Juice Plus fruit and veggie for free for up to 4 years. It's not a teaser. It's not a little advertising teaser. It's an actual program to help more people get healthier. And so what that means is for every adult order, you can get a kid for free for 4 years. So for a family of 2 adults with 2 kids, you can have them all on Juice Plus for $5 a day. $5 a day. What can you get for $5 a day? One smoothie, maybe, right? Not even a double lucky macchiato, Starbucks, whatever. Nothing. You can't get one thing of organic berries for $5 a day, and yet you can have 4 people on the concentrated nutrition in capsule form of Juice Plus, which has 40 medical research studies showing that it works for that same price. So we have those tools. We can share that and really help a lot of people. And then we have this wonderful thing called Tower Garden, right? So another way to help people, because there's food shortages. There's food deserts in this country. There's places you cannot find fresh produce, bodegas and cities and lots of places in rural America where you have to drive a very long way to get fresh produce unless you grow it yourself. And so we have a way to grow it yourself. Not only is it cheap, like pennies, like nothing, it's cleaner than organic. It's actually living food when you cut it off your tower and eat it. It could not be more potent nutrition, and it costs nothing. So the current recommendations from the USDA, as well as the CDC, the WHO, is between 7 and 13 servings of produce per day per person. So if you're a family of 4 and you want 7 servings a day, let's take the low number, 7 to 13. Let's go with 7, right? A family of 4, 7 servings a day each. That's 196 servings of produce a week. I can't afford that. Who can afford that? Who can carry that much produce? Who can cook it and process it and clean it? It's really, really tough with the the busy lives that we have right now. So anything we can do to help people get that nutrition in them in a way that's affordable, doable, simple, and efficient, I think we could really make a huge change. So between Towers and Juice Plus capsules, as well as the family health study, I really hope that you see that we have some work to do, that we can make a dent in this huge epidemic that we're having and seeing all around us. I mean, people either talk about their health or they don't. But if you ask them, there's very few people that don't have a health complaint, no matter what their age now. And that's new and that's scary. And that should not be the way it is. And again, it's too much junk food, too much processed food, not enough real food. And we know that. There's no question that the science is solid on that. So speaking of the science, in the few minutes that I have left for you, I just want to very briefly touch on the science. So for 2 reasons. First of all, my hope for all of you is not that you get your doctors and all your healthcare providers on Juice Plus. It is a little hope, but it's not a realistic hope. My real hope is that all of you will educate your healthcare providers as to the fact that Juice Plus is a product with research. And I printed this out to show you guys. So this is the research summary that you all have access to. If you're a partner, if you're not, ask the person who invited you tonight to give you one. It's a 2-page document. It's actually a couple of years old now. There's a bunch of studies missing, but it's really excellent because it makes it understandable in simple terms what areas we have research in and what the research shows. And then on the back, it lists all the university medical centers, that have been involved in that research. And if you're known for the company you keep, I want to be in this company, and I am. My alma mater is there, Yale is there, a bunch of other very well-known medical centers and hospitals. The point is that this is not research paid for and done on Madison Avenue to look good. This is real medical clinical research, and it's been going on for 27 years, and we now have 40 published peer-reviewed clinical trials. These are randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, the state-of-the-art, the best and only way to do real research. This is what we do. We also get the top scientists in the world in that field to do that research. So the sports medicine research that was done on the top NATO elite team in Austria was done by Rosenblatt, who's well known to be the top exercise physiologist in the world, and he does all the research. So we got him, right? The people that invented the way to check DNA damage in Utah, we got them to do our DNA studies, and so on. And it's not like we have to get them. They want to participate because this is an amazing product with already a very solid body of evidence. We call it in science. It's a body of evidence, meaning it's not just one place or one thing. It's all sorts of stuff. And essentially what the research shows is that we do the same thing that fruits and vegetables do if only you would eat them. If only we would eat 30 raw, vine-ripened fruits, vegetables, and berries with the skin, the seeds, the stems, and we would chew it all well enough to absorb it, which is called pulverizing, which is what we do to make Juice Plus. Not juicing, not liquefying. It's very different. Pulverizing means you still have some intact plant cells and some broken up plant cells, and that creates the highest level of antioxidants. So actually, I think that Juice Plus is clearly better than juicing. Not only, like you said, Josh, there's no sugar, but there's a whole lot more available nutrition in the fibrous part of the plant than in just the juice of the plant. So we have the proof that if you ate the way we're making Juice Plus, you would be healthy. When you take Juice Plus, the same thing happens. And that's been shown over and over and over to the point where there's just not any debate about that at all. And that's why Josh said that we are the most researched supplement of this kind in the world, and we are by far. I have a huge pharmacy in my office because that's what I do. I do nutritional medicine. Nothing combined, if you put everything in my pharmacy combined, nothing has close to the amount of research that Juice Plus has all by itself. Juice Plus actually has more research than many drugs that are on the market, FDA approved. We have that level of research, and there's never been a side effect as opposed to a drug. Drugs do things to you, food does things for you. And so there's no side effects with food the way there are with drugs. There's just good effects with food. So we have, first off, we have bioavailability studies, which means that we have proof that what's in Juice Plus gets into your cells. That's kind of a basic thing, right? If it doesn't get into your cell, it's not going to do very much for you. And that's the problem with a lot of supplements and multivitamins out there. The labels look great. You're like, oh, I've heard of that. I've heard of that. Wow, that's in there too. What you don't realize is that the dosing is all wrong. If they're synthetic, your body doesn't really like it very much and may not absorb it. And that you can't put that many good things into one pill and not have it be the size of a horse pill. So it just doesn't work. It's just marketing. Whereas what we have on our label is food. And food works because that's what our cells recognize as being the most nutritious thing for us. So we have 18 or 20 at this point studies that prove that what's in our bottle, in our food rather, gets into our cells and acts the way it should. And that's really, really important. And no other supplement has that. None have 18 to 20 bioavailability studies. So that's already sets us apart. Then we have about 12 studies that show heart markers, cholesterol, homocysteine, blood pressure, all going the right way. Down for the most part. Blood sugar goes down. Diabetics do way better, even when nothing else changes. Wrinkles get better. Dental health gets better. Pregnancy is better. Cancer patients with ovarian cancer and with head and neck cancer do better. I'm sure I'm forgetting a whole bunch of stuff, but the most important ones are inflammation goes down like a rock, just boom. Within 8 weeks, inflammation markers are down across the board. And most things at their core are inflammatory. So when you lower inflammation, you make a lot of things better. You make arthritis, colitis, uveitis, you name it. If it has itis, you're going to make it better with food and with Juice Plus. The other thing that's really important is that we have 4 studies showing that our DNA is better with Juice Plus. So there's less damage to it. We repair it faster. And the most fun, most recent finding of all is that we now understand why good food makes us healthier. That the genes involved are turned on or off with plant-based diets and Juice Plus as well. So inflammation, DNA damage, wrinkles, right? Can I say it again? Wrinkles. 2 studies, less wrinkles, ladies and gents. If that doesn't do it, I don't know what will, right? People are more concerned about wrinkles than cholesterol and blood pressure and longevity, but that's a different story. So we have a ton of research that you name the cell in your body, it needs food, it needs plant foods, it doesn't have enough because no one's eating 7 to 13 servings every day, no one's eating the skin, the seeds, the stems, no one's getting it vine ripened, no one's getting it every single day. So you might have vine ripened now and then, depending on where you live, but not every single day. And no one's chewing it, chewing our food well enough. You're supposed to chew till it's liquid. Just to let you know, that's what you're supposed to do, right? And that's because you need to break up the cell fibers of a plant to absorb the nutrients. And that's the beauty of Juice Plus, the pulverization that happens in these huge Vitamix machines where they put all the produce takes apart the fiber and the nutrients so it's readily absorbable. Because most Americans don't absorb well. The number 1, 2, and 3 drugs that are sold in this country are all for gastrointestinal problems, right? Reflux, Pepto-Bismol, Tums, Prilosec, you name it, that's the number 1, 2, and 3 things. So clearly we don't digest well. And so the benefit as well as Juice Plus is that it's pre-digested for us, not to mention that it has stuff that you're not otherwise going to eat. And then the last point I want to make before we close out tonight is, I think it was said before, I think Josh even said it, it's cleaner than organic. No, it was Rachel. This is really important because it's not on the label yet. It's kind of confusing for some people. It's because the verbiage and the legalities of the verbiage are complicated, but here's the bottom line. Organic produce has still about 20 to 23% residual pesticide. The term organic has become diluted. It really just means there's a list of pesticides you can't use. It means you have to do certain things and that's all. It doesn't mean your neighbor can't spray god-awful stuff and the wind shifts. So there are residual pesticides in all organic produce because the world is not clean anymore. Nobody is zero anymore. There's no 0% anywhere. There's residual toxicity all over our planet. So the goal is to have the least amount possible. So organic is great, but honestly, I would not touch this product if it was just organic. Because when you concentrate the good, you concentrate the bad. And 23% residual pesticides concentrated every single day would scare the hell out of me. So I wouldn't do it. Well, the reason I love Juice Plus and I take it and I recommend it even to pregnant women and babies and all the rest is because we trust and then verify. I'm not a Reagan fan, but that was a great line, right? We trust and verify, meaning we do our own testing in-house over and over. We test the produce when it comes in. We test the process along the way. And at the end, we say, you know, we think it's really clean. We tested it a whole bunch of times, but let's give it up to this independent lab called NSF. Let them make sure it's clean. They have no vested interest in this. And so we spent a whole lot of money to have NSF verify our products. All of them, the complete shakes, the bars, everything we make is NSF verified. And what they do is they hold it to a much higher standard than organic. They say that there's very minimal anything. There's no heavy metals, there's no arsenic, lead, any of that stuff. And it is the cleanest kind of produce you can find unless you're growing it in a tower yourself. So that's what's important to me, that the product is absolutely clean, not that it's organic, because the way it's grown is more important than organic alone. We grow it and we vine ripen it, and that's not what organic says. We do it above and beyond the requirements, if you will. So the cleaner than organic, the research, the whole food, the vine ripen, the skin, the seeds, the stems, that's why I take Juice Plus. And because over 21 years, I have seen unbelievable, literally the way the word should be, unbelievable results. I've seen things that medically should not happen. The textbooks and my doctor friends would say, nah, it can't be, but I've seen them over and over and over. The power of food to heal the body is bigger than we think. And with Juice Plus, you can see it in action, and you can see it pretty quickly for the most part. So I'll leave it at that. I hope those of you that are not taking it, please, if you knew what I knew, if you read all the research, if you had read everything I've read about Juice Plus and other products and our nutritional status, you would never miss a day of Juice Plus the way I don't, because you'd know what I know, and that would be that you can't miss a day of fruits, vegetables, and berries, and you shouldn't miss a day of Juice Plus either, because it's that good. So thank you all for being with us tonight. I hope this was helpful. I appreciate your help, all of you that joined us in the storytelling tonight. Thank you all. Thank you.
Dr.
you.
Tamara, thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
I want to say thank you too. Go ahead, Josh. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, Dr. Tamara, thank you for your time, and thank you to your team who shared their stories this evening. We appreciate it.
Oh, yes, very much so. One question I do have for you. Where do you find the research summary? Is that on our virtual office?
It's on your quick links. It's
On the
under
quick
quick
links.
links. And then
Okay.
you want to do is personalize it on the bottom, put your name and your information on the bottom before you print it out.
Okay.
And don't print too many because they should be updated pretty soon, I hope.
Okay.
But yeah, they're very
Wonderful.
helpful.
Thank
So
you.
give those to doctors. Just make sure that your healthcare people know that we have research.
Absolutely.
And that's what's important.
Well, we appreciate it. Thank you guys so much tonight. I'll have these recordings on my YouTube. I'll get it sent out so that everybody has it. Okay.
Great.
Have a great night. Thank you again.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Peter.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Carol.
Rachel.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tamara.
Marlene.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.